Done.
Oh,
Oh,
Sorry.
not you. Karn, are you
Aye.
here?
hi.
Here
Danny
present.
Franklin's here.
Andrew Franklin's
Okay.
here.
Daniel Bailey is here. Carla Pendercross is excused. Ben is a question mark for now. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, voice vote? Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Okay. Let's keep it moving. Visitor participation. Do we have any visitors on, Allison?
We do.
Oh, awesome.
So would they just, I don't know if they would raise their hand.
If anyone wants to participate in visitor participation, now would be the time.
Can I be heard?
Yeah, please.
Hey, this is Latasha Housey.
Hello, Latasha.
I'm at 1633 West Bender Road. I have kids at Parkway. I have a question.
Sure.
When I was looking, when I was looking, I realized I didn't see any bylaws. I didn't see any minutes. And where's the budget at for the projected amount for the school cost?
Hold on.
I didn't see a budget at all.
I'm going to pause you. So this is a special meeting. So visitor participation at this meeting is limited to the topic upon which we are meeting, which is doing an IDI equity survey and intro, which is why we have Dimitri here. But if you want, you can do two things. You can email me and Allison all of those questions, and we will get back to you as soon as possible and help you navigate some of that stuff. And I'm glad you're here because I wanted to touch base with you about joining the equity committee. So email me and I will reach back out. So unfortunately, we can't take that question at this time, but if you have any questions about what we're about to do with this equity survey, otherwise please follow up offline or call me or whatever.
I got you. I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you, Latasha. Anyone else?
Yeah, Zena chatted.
Okay, Zena,
She
you
said that she
you
would
have
like
some-
to.
You answered my question. Thank you, Miss Bailey.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool. So there are no other visitors. I'll close visitor participation at this time. Thank you both for being here. And we can move on. I'm trying to pull up my agenda. Allison, the next item is
Dimitri. So I
There we go.
apologize.
Okay.
So we are here to meet with Mr. Beekman so that he can launch us to our IDI survey tonight, and then he will provide us all with a link to our survey that we will take. Dimitri, I sent an email this afternoon with a timeline of Monday. You let me know if that doesn't work, because I know that once we all take the survey, you have to schedule one-on-ones with us, and then we have a debrief in a couple weeks. So if you need to adjust that timeline, just let us know.
All right. Yeah. And I'll be sharing more of the process and timeline at the end of the launch today. So we'll have a better gauge on how we're going to do and schedule our IDI debriefs with myself or Maria before our group debrief, I think on the 25th, if I'm not mistaken.
That's right.
Yep.
All right.
All right. So I'm going to hand it over to you, sir.
All right. Share sound, and I will go here. If I can get a thumbs up for everybody that can see my screen, is everybody got the all drive speaker? All right, we're good to go. And I did click the button to share sound because there is going to be a video here today. We're going to give you a quiz. You know, even after a long day, yes, you too will get a quiz today, just to make sure we are aligned and working in the same place and going in the same direction. So I'm Dimitri Beekman. I am a qualified administrator with the IDI, and I am authorized to launch the IDI, conduct one-on-one debriefs, analyze, give data, and support you on your cultural competency journey. So just a little reminder of who I am with All Drive. The vision is that we will be the most inspiring and solution-based consultants helping create inclusive learning and working environments for all. The mission, we just want to provide the highest quality consulting services by partnering with educators, leaders, universities, churches to help reach goals. That's all we want to do is help add value. And our values are honor, integrity, compassion, humility, and empathy. And I'm sure these are things that you all have in your classrooms and in your school districts, and that's the way it is performing the way that it is because of the expectations that you all set. So before we get started, I just want to find out how all of you are showing up today. You know, it's 5:09 on a Wednesday after it's hump day where we're here. But if you can just put in the chat, or if you can just put your hands up, you know, what's your energy level like right about now? Uh-oh, got a 0. Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
I have COVID. I just tested positive for COVID this morning.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
Hopefully
want to
you get better.
apologize in advance, Dimitri, if I leave early. It's because I'm probably falling asleep. So please don't take it personally.
No,
It's
I
COVID.
won't. All right. Thank you, Carla. So I'm seeing some 3s, some 1 solid 4, 4, 3, a 2, 4, 3, middle of the road. All right, Allison you got high energy today. All right, and we're gonna send some healing Carla's way so she can get better with that situation with COVID. So thank you for that. So for our objectives for today, we're going to learn about the Intercultural Development Inventory, its purpose, the process, and learn next steps and what to expect, and to answer any questions that you may have throughout this process. And before we get started, there are some key terms that we always want to focus on when we're focusing on intercultural competence. We want to talk about culture, diversity, and inclusion, and ultimately the definition of intercultural competence. The main focus of this, we got to understand culture first. Understanding culture is the foundation, the starting point for all intercultural efforts. It is the most difficult concept to find widespread agreement on, yet it is central to everything. So many of us who we may have grown up in a multicultural home, married into a family that is multicultural, have friends from other races, but that does not make you intercultural. It doesn't help you to be that, because there are more aspects of intercultural competency that we're going to dive into today. So when we're focusing on culture, there are 2 types of culture. So there's objective culture, and those are the things that you can see, the artifacts and institutions created by a group of people, art, architecture, the food, the dance. But then there's also subjective culture, and that deals with the values, the beliefs, and perceptions of a specific group. And this is the area that we really want to focus in on, where we're going to measure the degree of subjective intercultural competence. So that, and we're going to get to an example of that very shortly. So, pop quiz. What are some examples that you may think of when you consider subjective culture? Well, does anyone have any examples of what is something that we're talking about when we're dealing with subjective culture and not objective culture? And you can come off the mic, or you can put it in chat. And if you don't have any, that is perfectly fine. Okay, Carla.
Yeah, this is the example that popped into my mind from many, many years ago. When I was a lawyer, we had a young summer associate who was first-gen Chinese, and the mostly white people in our firm did not like her. They did not like her personality. They felt that she was too aggressive, she was too loud, she was too assertive in some ways. And what I saw this as just cultural. It was who she was. It was the way her culture is. There's no artifact. It's just the way she was raised, the way her family behaves. And I don't know if that's what you mean, but that's what I thought of. And it led to conflict because they didn't make her an offer because of her personality.
That is a great example, Carla, because sometimes how a person body language is, how loud they are, how how they show expression, that could be taken a different route. But that's all about culture. Some cultures are very interactive, they talk with their hands, they're loud. Others are very docile, meek, and we have to understand what type of person or where that person's culture is coming from to be able to accept them. So that's a great example. I'm going to go to the chat and see here. Slang.
I put in two. Yeah, I was thinking about like manners too. Like if like what you can talk about in certain groups of people and what you don't talk about and what's polite, those kind of things.
Absolutely right. See, I apologize for that because I had your IDI set up. So now it'll just take me a minute to send the link because I had them all set in time for after our presentation. You'll get them. So it'll just take a moment after that. But yes, the manners, the politeness, all of those things that you really don't know about a culture will make you feel, I don't know, did I misjudge or misinterpret a certain person because of their actions? Because I'm not familiar with that type of culture. And this leads us to the external and internal. So at the top of the iceberg, we see all those things that are objective. That's the 10% of a person or of a culture. We want to get into the 90%, which is the objective culture, where we talk about the beliefs, the values, the thought patterns, the myths, the child raising practices, proximity. I'm not sure about you, but when you're in the grocery store and you're in line, I'm one of the type of people that I need a little space, but when people are right up on you, I'm looking back, I'm like, wow. So that is a part of culture because some people don't understand space because in their culture, it's okay to be right up on another person. But in other cultures, hey, you got to give me my 3 to 6 feet. It was nice during that time when we had the 6 feet of spacing with COVID because now people had to wait to put their things on the conveyor belt when you're in line. Now they just come up right on you. We're like, man, so that is a part of subjective culture. And we have to understand we can't get upset. I had to tell myself, because I'm still working on me, to understand there's a different culture. And that's why individuals act the way that they act. And now this will also help us in understanding why some of our students, why some of our families that we serve, that's why they act the way that they act because of their culture. And here is an example of the intercultural orientation grid. This is the orientation. This is the continuum. So when we start off in the monocultural mindset, that is, you don't see anything but your own culture. So you start off in denial. And these are the 5 different orientations that you may land in or with your developmental and your perceived orientation. I'll get into that, but I want to explain each of these orientations briefly. So denial, you're missing the differences within another culture. You don't even see color. You don't see a different religion. You want to treat individuals all the same. And that's not the case. Then we can move to polarization, where we're judging the differences. And when we get to polarization, there are 2 different options. We have defensive, where you feel that your culture is better than everyone else's culture. Everyone else should do things the way that your culture does it. Then we have reversal, where you feel that other cultures, other groups have better ways of doing things than your own culture. So that's where the polarization has 2 different sides. But then we continue to move up to minimization. That's where we de-emphasize the differences. We really can focus on the things that we have in common, but we don't understand or take an interest to focus on the differences that really show how to embrace diversity within different cultures. Then we continue to move along to acceptance. And that's where you can deeply comprehend the differences while also acknowledging the things that you have in common with a a different culture. And the ultimate goal is to get to adaptation. And that's where you are able to bridge across the differences. You are able to be a peacemaker, even though you're not a part of us, that two different, just say, cultures that may have a disagreement or an argument. But since you are so aware of how different cultures act and behave, you're able to bring peace to that situation, and you're able to calm things down so everyone can see from another person's perspective, and thinking outside of their box and not being so monocultural, but being intercultural. And at any given time that you have a question or anything, please just say, hey, Dimitri, can you explain this? Go a little bit further here, and I will definitely answer those questions. So clarifying the terms. I know we started off with culture, but when we're dealing with diversity, equity, inclusion, every organization, every place has different meanings, but I want to make sure that we ground ourselves with the same vocabulary as we refer to diversity, inclusion, and intercultural competence. So the who, this is one of the major pieces or components of the term intercultural competence, is diversity. And that's the presence of meaningful cultural differences that make a difference. Something that's different, something that is not the same, something that's out of the ordinary, something that is going against what is the norm. So we have to have the who. Next, we have the what, which is inclusion. And that is the ultimate goal of the type of school district we want, the type of classroom, the type of school. We want inclusion. And that's the practice of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as those who have physical or mental disabilities and members of other minority groups. So that's the what. When we continue on, moving on to the how, that's intercultural competence. And that is the capability to shift cultural perspective and appropriately adapt behavior to cultural differences and commonalities. And this is the definition that came from Dr. Mitchell Hammer, who is the president and founder of IDI LLC. So when we put all these things together and understanding the differences between objective and subjective culture, now we're working our way towards intercultural competence. And here's something to consider. You can't have diversity without having intercultural competence, because the ultimate goal is to get to inclusion. If we don't have both of these working collaboratively, we're going to fall short. So intercultural competence, that is the cultural self-awareness. This is where we're starting. This is the start today. Us going through this IDI, finding out where are we? What are some of the blind spots that I might have to help me continue along the journey? It's understanding of the experiences of people of different groups, and it's the ability to bridge across these differences. So when we have diversity, the differences, plus intercultural competence, then we get to inclusion, and that's leveraging differences to increase contributions and opportunities for all. We have to have all three of these to get to inclusion. So when we put everything together, when there's a mix of diversity or differences in how people interact and experience the world around them, which is the culture, it requires the capacity to recognize, navigate, and bridge the complexities of individuals and groups. Intercultural competency, if the goal is to ensure people feel valued and engaged, which is inclusion. So these are the four major components on how we are going to really focus on intercultural competency to engage with inclusion and to really embrace diversity while understanding and asking questions to find out about other cultures that we may not be familiar with. So here is a list of the tracks. So we have 3 different tracks. So we have the individual track where you will get your results. So it's an IDI individual profile report where only you will have access to your results. It is it will show you two different things. That it will show you your perceived orientation, where you think you are on the intercultural continuum, but then it'll show you your developmental, and this is where you actually are. So you'll end up landing in either denial, polarization, minimization, acceptance, or adaptation. And it's okay, because this is just a starting point. And I like to tell people, do not get discouraged if you think you're further along on your equity journey or your intercultural competency journey than where your results show, because it's a starting point, and we're going to come up with a plan together. Then we will create an individualized development plan. Maria and myself will meet with you. We will review your notes, go in depth on where you landed, and come up with a plan together for the next 9 to 12 months on how you're going to move the gap, close the gap between your perceived and your developmental. Then we have the team group development track. And so that is where we will take the averages of where the entire board and the school leaders are, and that is going to be the average on where you fall. Then we collectively will come together at that group debrief. We'll come together to create action steps on how we are collectively going to close our gap, determining if it is a wide gap or narrow gap. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. And then we have the organizational development track. And that is the track where eventually we will get to, because I know I'll be assessing all of the teachers, I think in February. So then we will have the entire school district taking this, and we'll know exactly where we are. And we can even break it down by schools if we want to. But we'll have a definite tracking of the organization, where we are as a whole compared to where are the board members and the principals. So this will be information that you will be able to share and include this into your cell work. Maybe become part of the SLO and PPG for educators if they haven't already done that. Why choose the IDI? Why are we doing this? It's not just to give you some baseline data. It's not to show you where you are on the cultural competency orientation, but it's also to increase employee engagement. So many times I'm hearing we need employee resource groups. I feel isolated. There are microaggressions being said in the cafeteria or in the teacher's lounge. When I'm working in meetings, people are saying things that are hurtful. They don't understand who I am. So going through this process, it will increase employee engagement. And when people love coming to work or love their calling or passionate, the results are going to be higher. Your outcomes are going to be higher. Student achievement is going to increase. People are going to want to come be a part of what you're a part of because you're happy to be there. And culture and climate is one of the most important areas with any organization, school, church, which it dictates the success of that organization. So we want to make sure that not offending individuals, now that we know better through this process, we're going to be able to do better, not just with each other, but with all of our students, families, and community partners. So the importance of assessments. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of the IDI, I just wanted to say, we take assessments on so many different things, but when was the last time you checked your intercultural competency? We get our health checked, we go to the doctor, we get blood drawn, we take our cars in for oil change, we get our tires rotated, we make sure the check engine light isn't on. We go to the doctor, we make sure that our hearts are in order, our blood's flowing well, we're doing well, but we've never taken seriously the assessment of the IDI. Everybody's going to be at a different place. And I like to use this analogy. If I say, hey, we're going to run a 5K on Friday, some of us in this group may be ready for that because you're avid runners. You're ready for this. Me, not so much. I hate running. I can sprint, but that long distance, that gets me. So just like with the IDI, certain individuals are going to be further along on the continuum compared to others. And that is okay. This is a starting point. This is a baseline year, and we're going to continue to grow and develop the more that we have these conversations. Without any assessment, without any feedback, we don't know where we are, because I know the Harvard implicit bias, yeah, you can take that assessment and they give you, you have your results, and then what? But with the IDI, what I love about the IDI, we sit down with you, we will review your results, come up with a game plan. So now you know what you need to do to increase the capacity of your cultural competency. You're going to get out what you put into this. And it's not just a one-time, one and done. This is a continuous process that you will probably be on for the rest of your life. So I just wanted to make sure that we all were aware of the importance of the assessment. So again, why does this help? It establishes a baseline. It chooses optimal interventions, which are going to be our action steps. It's going to show you what are some of the professional development sessions that we need to embark on based on our data, based on the conversations that the group debriefs have. It's helping people learn. It's developing competencies that they may not have had before going through this process. We're going to be able to measure progress. Hopefully this time next year, when we take it, we'll see an improvement. And we're going to be able to identify goals. And that will take place once we have our group debrief. And the most important thing, that which is measured improves. We have to inspect what we expect. If we don't inspect anything, we're not going to get the results that we want. The IDI is valid, it's reliable, fair, and practical. It assesses one thing, and that's subjective culture. It's been validated, it's been translated, over 220,000 participants, it's in multiple languages. So many organizations throughout our country are using this as a tool to make sure that their culture and climates are doing what they're supposed to do, which is welcoming and inviting to all colleagues. So that's why we're using this IDI. It is widely used. And the summary of it, it's grounded in a comprehensive, cross-culturally validated model. There's an organization and an education version available in multiple languages. It generates the custom group and individual reports, and we come up with an IDP, individualized development plan. And it helps you achieve your goals. And again, it is a cross-culturally valid and reliable assessment of intercultural competence. And that's it. Nothing else. It's not an opinion survey. It is a cultural competency assessment. So again, here are the different levels. We have denial, polarization, minimization, acceptance. And again, I just wanted to reiterate, this is a starting point. This is a journey. So we're going to have the ability and the options to do book studies, to have deep conversations, to have this be a part of our staff meetings, your data days. This information should not just be held during these spaces. This should be a part of the Glendale-River Hills culture on a regular basis, so everybody's talking that same language. How do we experience difference? Now, if I asked all of you, how do you think this looks? If this was the way that the Glendale-River Hills School District scored with the group debrief, how do you feel that these results are? Are these good results, or are they bad? What do you think, just taking a look at these? And you can come off the mic and share. And if you don't know, that is okay. I just want to find out where do you think these numbers mean? 2.4% in adaptation, 13.5 in acceptance, 68% in minimization, 13.5 in polarization, 2.4 in denial. Do you think this is pretty good? What do we think?
I would say I'd like to see less minimization and more acceptance.
Dimitri,
look at
to me, it looks like a bell curve.
Yes.
Like a perfect bell curve.
Yes. Thank you, Kelly. And that's where I was getting at. But I also appreciate Allison's point. Even though 68% of the individuals landed in minimization, that's where people are colorblind and everybody's the same. And that is a big misconception. That's where a lot of problems come into play. Back in the day, the thing was, oh, we need to be colorblind. You know, we treat everybody the same. That has shifted. The paradigm in education, it shifted. So now we're color conscious. So if you don't see a person's color, you're really missing the boat, because now you don't know who they are, their culture, their history. So we really want to get into, as Kelly mentioned, move to acceptance and adaptation.
Well, so to me, I wonder how authentic, like if you have that many people in that colorblind, I almost wonder if that's like people who say what they think they're supposed to say, and they might actually more, this is the skeptical me, they might actually be more in that like denial or polarization, but they are like, this is what I'm supposed to say, because they don't even know like that. So I don't know. I guess my hope is everybody is just honest and we are where we are. So
Yes, Daniel. I hope so. And that's what I'm glad you mentioned that, because when you take this assessment, go with your gut feeling. Don't try to overthink. There's no answer key. I don't know the answers. When I took it the first time, I thought I was writing down, I said, I know this is right. So I was gonna argue with my qualified administrator to show like, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Let me see. But that's not what the IDI does. So they have a specific way to calculate where you are. And it's really just that point of emphasis. This is where you are. This is where the majority of individuals who take this nationally. So everyone across the world who takes this, 68% of them end up in minimization, which they're not seeing color. So now I'm going to play a clip from one of my favorite shows from back in the day, This Is Us. And then I'm going to ask you some questions about this scene.
You okay, bud?
Yeah.
You sure? I mean, you barely said a word in the last couple holes.
I don't think I want to play anymore.
Randall, come on. We got 4 more holes to go, and you know we don't quit what we started.
We quit the dojo. Do you remember that dojo that we went to a few years back with all the other black families?
Yeah?
We went a few times, but then we stopped.
You said you didn't want to learn karate anymore.
Yeah, but you won't let me quit soccer or baseball. You don't want me to quit golf.
I don't quite follow you here, Randall.
Forget it. Can we please just go home?
Hold on a second. Where's this coming from? Is this Mr. Lawrence again?
No. No, you just don't get it.
What don't I get?
What you said before. About feeling weird at some country club golf course.
Okay.
You felt uncomfortable at a golf course, and I probably wouldn't have even been allowed on it.
Kiddo, I am sorry, okay? That was a stupid thing to say. I don't look at you and see color. I see my son.
Then you don't see me, Dad.
So, pop quiz number 2. Where do you think the father would end up on the continuum? Would it be denial, polarization, minimization, acceptance, or adaptation? Where do we thinking?
denial, possibly minimization, but somewhere
Okay, so
there.
I had a denial, I had a minimization.
I thought minimization.
Minimization. The dad ended up in minimization, because when he said, I don't see color, I just see you as my son. As much as he loves his son, and we can tell that, sometimes by not acknowledging or seeing a person for who they are, can cause more damage than do good. In this case, his not being aware of who his son was, really caused that wedge between the relationship between him and his father. How do we see this within our school systems? Do we see this happening with our teachers and our students and our colleagues even? Because we don't know, we just see them as individuals, as colleagues, or as students, but do we really take that extra step to understand some of their culture, some of their religion, some of their history that makes them who they are? And that's what the IDI is going to reveal and expose you to do more of, if you haven't already been doing that, because we all need room to grow. And I've been in education coming up 30 years, and I wish I would have had this, because I missed the boat so many opportunities, so many times, by not asking certain questions, by thinking I knew by what I've read, but not really engaging with individuals from other cultures. So this is really going to open up our hearts and minds to want to have those conversations and have the relationships with individuals to learn more about their cultures. So this is the capacity.
Dimitri?
Yep.
Oh, sorry, Willie had his hand up.
Okay, Willie. Go ahead, Willie.
So is this continuum, is this like a fixed point? Like, can you move from denial to minimalization and then back to denial, or is it just is it fluid pretty much?
Yeah, it's definitely fluid. Absolutely. So yeah, but hopefully the goal is, if you start off in denial, you move to minimization. Hopefully your next stage would be acceptance, and from acceptance to adaptation. So it's really based on your reflection, your understanding, and the work that you are going to do once we create that plan. So thank you for that question, Willie. And the goal with the IDI is to understand ourselves first. If we don't understand ourselves, we're not going to be able to understand why we have the certain stereotypes, the certain biases that we have. Sometimes we're going to have to unlearn some things based on where we grew up, what we were taught from our parents, our neighborhoods, our friends, grandparents, extended family. And then we're going to focus on cultural of other understanding. How are we going to gauge and get to know other cultures, and to have that clear construct of, you know what, I once thought this about this specific culture, but now I understand. So this is where the IDI is going to really lead us into. What I love about this is there's equity coaching. Maria and I will be available to assist and to answer any questions, because I, for the most part, after going through this process, your cultural self-awareness, sensitivity is going to be on high alert. And then there are going to be situations that you're going to hear and see, and you may need an additional thought partner to run through some scenarios and to help and give advice. We're here for that. So don't be afraid to email us, say, hey, I got a question, I got a situation that took place. How would you recommend handling that? That's what one thing I love about the IDI.
I have I'm sorry, I don't have a hand raised
Yeah.
or technologically challenged. You keep talking about culture in this sort of like homogenous way. Does IDI like make room for new? I mean, obviously not all people like are, just because they're from a culture have the same subjective behaviors, right? So how does this deal with that kind of nuance and, the intersectionality of different identities and cultures?
Oh, it definitely does. And I think when you take this assessment, you're going to be asked questions. It's going to be determined, what identity do you identify with the most? What do you, when people see you, how do you want them to see you? Even though you may be, for example, you may be mixed with two races. Am I going to be Black or am I going to be Hispanic? Those are things that you have to understand. But then when we break down the data and we come up with the plan, we're going to be able to explore the various cultures that are out there that we may not be familiar with. So it is fluid, because I can be represented as a Black male, a cisgender male, a part Indian male. So what identity do I identify with most? That's how I'm going to show up when I take this assessment. And I think that's the beauty of this, because now you're going to be able to share experiences from the results of the IDI on how you are identifying. So I hope I answered that okay, Danielle.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So your individual report, you'll get your perceived orientation. This is where you think you are. And then you get your developmental, and that is where you actually land. Then there's the orientation gap, which is the difference between your perceived and your developmental. 98% of individuals who take this assessment have a gap. So I just want to put that out there. It's no pressure. Don't think that you have to ace it, but a lot of times there is a slight gap. Anything over 7 points is considered significant with this, but we'll work on that. Then there's the leading orientation. For example, as Willie asked, if you start off in denial, what's the next orientation? You definitely want to move to polarization or to minimization. You don't want to stay in that orientation. And the same thing with the group profile report. You have the average of all the board members and the principals, your perceived orientations. Then we have your developmental, your orientation gap, and then the range of orientations as I showed you on the previous slides. And from that, from the range of orientation, that will help us decide what are going to be our next action steps to close that gap collectively, while we also work individually on our own personalized goals. So this is an example of an individual report. So this individual thought that they were in adaptation at 130, but their developmental, they landed in 116. And this is exactly how your results will show up for your assessment. But then there's the orientation gap. And with this, there was a 13.33 gap. And all the gap means is that you just overestimated your expertise in cultural competency. That was it. That's the only thing. Now, when we get to the group debrief, when I average all of your scores, this is an option. This is a way that the results could show. There's either going to be a wide range or a narrow range. This is an example of a wide range because we have individuals in all 5 orientations. If it was in a, just say, minimization and acceptance, that would be a narrow range. So now the action steps will be a little bit different to move forward. But when we have that wide of a range, how are we going to meet the needs of everyone so they can continue to grow? So about the work that you're going to do, you and I, or Maria and yourself, you're going to create the plan. We're going to create the plan collaboratively, but you are going to ultimately select what you want to do. Maria and I, we have all of the resources for you. We have books, podcasts, documentaries. We have everything because we want to make sure that you have somewhere to start instead of you finding the information on your own. So it's self-guided, it's self-paced, it's very reflective. Just like when we ask teachers, okay, how do you think that lesson went? The same thing is going to apply with you in a situation where you're dealing with culture or different races or genders or orientation. How are you doing with that? It's intentional. You got to be committed. The goal is for you to work on this for the next 6 to 9 months and dedicate 30 to 50 hours to your plan. And what I tell individuals during our debriefs, block that time off on your calendar. And I know it is so hard for superintendents, principals, because you're on call 24/7. So when you think you come in early, somebody might come in there and disrupt that. So this may take place outside of work. It doesn't have to be a Monday through Friday type of work. You can do this at your leisure on the weekend when you're on the treadmill in the car listening to audiobooks or podcasts. It just doesn't have to be a sit down and get. So it's really flexible on how you work the plan. Everything that we discuss is 100% confidential. Allison will not receive anybody's results. I ask that you do not share your results because, like I said, everybody's going to show up in a different place. And we do not want to discourage or have anyone feel a certain kind of way because their score wasn't what they expected. This brings trust. This brings collaboration to the team by this being 100% confidential. I'm going to say the same thing to the instructional coaches, the psychologists, and all the other educators in the district, because we do not want to get, hey, the board and the principals, I heard some of their scores, because then we'll get more negative talk, and we want to keep things positive and say, hey, this is a learning tool. This is our baseline data. This is what we're going to do to move forward.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Because my first thought was like, oh, this would be really cool to share out our journeys with like community members and like show our community and like our teachers who will eventually do this, I think, like what we're doing and how it's going for us. Is there like a way to talk about it without, or is it just like we're totally like mum's the word, we're doing this and
No, you can actually, I mean, other districts that I've worked with, they've shared their results, in meetings on their website to show that they are serious about, creating equitable and inclusive learning environments. And they're starting with cultural self-awareness so they know who they are. So yeah, they're sharing this data on a regular basis and celebrating it, because I think this is what some of our students and families are looking for educators to do, because there hasn't been anything out there like this. So yeah, spread the word about this, but just leave the names off the scores, and then just show here are the action steps that we're working towards as a district to close the gap that we have. So yeah, communicating that is good.
If I can just interject, I just want to make sure though, I mean, we're not going to get any individual breakdowns. It's just going to be a cumulative score that's being put together.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
so what I think what Danielle might be asking about, I don't want to speak for Danielle, it's like this idea that like, if Carla, I take the survey and I'm like, oh, I'm so woke, I'm so culturally competent, but it turns out, I'm not. I'm a person who would want to share that as a way to maybe to model like that sort of transparency, to say like, wow, I just learned I have some growing to do, and I'm going to do that growing, and I'm not going to be ashamed of gaps, and I'm going to do this work. But what I hear you saying is that maybe that's not the way to go, because we don't want people to feel pressure to do that. I'm not sure.
I think, Carly, you hit on a good point. You know the culture of the school district, and are people going to embrace this and say, hey, this is good to know, or are they going to look at that as a negative? So that's the only reason I'm saying, if you want to model and share, hey, this is where I was at, because I shared mine. I'm transparent, and I want people to know, hey, as a leader, this is where I failed, this is where we're going. So it's really up to you. But I've seen in certain other organizations where there was a competition of different scores, and I just don't want that to spiral into something negative, which it's turning something positive into a negative.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that perspective.
Yep.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Tree, it's Dr. Smith. Could I interrupt for just a moment? What I
Yes.
want to share is that when I think about the idea of sharing out where we land, I just want to caution everyone around, if we're asking people to show up and be their authentic selves, I think that they need the opportunity to do that and feel safe around doing that. And I think sometimes what happens is we don't necessarily get authentic selves or truths because people know that data is being reported out. People know that data is being shared. And so I guess that would just be the other side to think about as we're questioning whether or not we're going to move forward and share out information. I think maybe as time goes on, but I think this is going to be so new for our staff. And I think we want the buy-in and we want people to feel comfortable being honest in their responses, not what somebody might want to hear or not how we may want to portray ourselves as a district. So just something to think about.
My wondering, Dimitri, is if we just share the overall team results.
Yes. Yep. That's what I would
Possible
recommend.
option.
Yep.
Mhm.
That's the way that I would recommend, just to share the overall results of, hey, this is where the board and the school leaders landed compared to the instructional coaches, psychologists, social workers, and this is where our educators are as a whole. And then this is where we are as a collective group. So having 3 different reports will show the breakdown of where each group is. That would be my recommendation. And I've seen that happen, and you know, it draws competition. You know, people they want to get better, and they want to say, hey, I want to take this again in 6 months. But because they're doing their work, they're reading, they're asking, they're immersing themselves in different cultures to make sure that they are really not having any blind spots or affirming any negative stereotypes that they once had. So I think it's going to be important for this group to be able to model the expectations of using that collective data. Great question. Thank you, Dr. Smith, for that. Thank you, Danielle and Carla. Any other questions regarding that? All right. So who else uses the IDI? We have Harley Davidson, Microsoft, Target, Walt Disney, Denver Public Schools, several different school districts in the state. I know Platteville, Kaukauna has used this, Glendale-River Hills, Waupun. So I'm going to be able to add your name to the list. Duke University, Northwestern, the Air Force, Northwestern Mutual Life is really big with this. So it's a part of their onboarding process for all new employees at Northwestern. So they really value the IDI. So here are a couple sample items that that you will see when you decide to take it. It could be tonight or tomorrow. And again, go with your gut instinct. Don't try to overthink the assessment. This is going to give you the opportunity to really answer how you feel. So these are some of the types of questions that you will see when you take the assessment. So the next steps. All right. After this launch, you're going to receive an email from the IDI assessment. You'll have a link. There will be a login, a password. It should take around 20 minutes. I'll get your results to me. I'll be able to send you your results within 24 hours before the one-on-one debrief, so you can review them, ask any questions that you may have, and then we'll create your IDP together. And that's it. And again, myself and Maria are on call for you to assist with anything and to answer any questions and help you to start your journey. And then we will have our group debrief October 25th. And I think it's so important that everyone has their one-on-one debrief before the group debrief, because otherwise when we get to the group debrief, you're not going to know what we're talking about when we get to the group debrief. So it's important. And I think that is it. And if you have any questions about anything that I mentioned, this is a time where you can ask. Let me see, I want to share something with you. So this is an email that you'll receive later today or later tonight, which you'll be able to select times for you to have your IDI debrief on October 19th. I didn't even run this by you, Allison. I'm going to ask for forgiveness if you say no. But since I'm going to be doing the launch at 3 o'clock with the psychologists and instructional coaches and social workers, if you would like to, if you're still around, we'll do in-person debriefs that day from 4 to 4:45, and then from 5 to 5:45, just so we can get that that human connection, if that works for your schedule. If not, we have a list of other times and dates, and if none of these work for you, just say, hey, Dimitri, can we meet at this time on this date? Because we're flexible, because we want to make sure that you have everything that you need.
Thank you.
How will we sign up for one of these times? Will we get that? Allison, will you be circulating it? Like a
Yeah.
doodle or something?
Yeah, I'll share this with you, and all you do is you just sign up your name to the time with your email address. And if you want your results to go to a personal email address versus your school address, we can do that too, because some people feel like, I don't know, I really don't trust the district or the superintendent. They may be trying to look at my, so they get it sent to their personal emails. Not Allison, though. Allison, she's full of integrity and honor. And so, yeah, so it's up to you, whatever way that you want to receive your results, it's up to you. And like I said, we'll be able to share all that information with you soon.
How long till we get this link? I'm ready to go.
I am about to.
Also, I have childcare right now, so I need to do it.
So what I'm about to send this to you right now. I'm about to log in again and update the information, because I had everything set and then it timed out on me. So give me 2 minutes and then you should receive it. And I want to stay online with you to make sure that everybody has access to this. So give me a couple minutes as I regenerate everything. Because I've done this before, where I have shared the assessment before I got done with the assessment, and people took it and I said, I'll never do that again. So I've learned.
That's
Even with
fair.
adults, some of the adults are more eager than they need to be. So
I'm trying to decide if it's better to take it while I'm in a COVID fog, which would be a much more intuitive response.
I think so.
Or whether I should wait until I'm, not stoned with COVID. Not that I know what being stoned feels like.
Oh, Andy has some questions. Andy, I cannot hear you. That's true. I think something is going on with your sound. So his question was, will data be broken down beyond the 15-person administrative group? What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not.
What do you mean, like when he does the other groups? Will they be?
Oh, he's typing again.
Okay.
I think.
I wonder if Andy's wondering if when we have our group debriefs, there's going to be more drilling down into individuality as opposed to just the global overviews of the group.
Karin, you're on the nose, I think.
I think we're going to be able to, with the individual debrief, it'll be more focused on individual. But when we get the group debrief, you're going to be able to share what are the plans, what does your plan look like? What are some of the different things are you going to be doing? I can share. Are you going to be taking site visits? Are you going to be visiting? Are you going to create a focus group of marginalized parents within the district that you're working with at your school? So there are a lot of different things to collaborate with that. But as far as breaking things down, everybody's going to receive the same amount of information and data, but they'll just be different. So it'll be individual, and then for the group debrief, it'll be geared towards the group.
So when we're in a group, I think Andy wants to make sure we won't know each other's stuff. It'll just be like, as a team, here's where we landed.
Yep.
And the different percentages in each spot.
The group will be all of us, Andy, admin plus board, everybody who, some people maybe didn't make it tonight, but
yeah.
Yeah.
So
all of us.
basically, Andy, we wanted to be able to say like the leadership of the district landed here, like as a leadership team, board and administration.
And I just want to add, like, I've been through something somewhat similar in the past. It's the most natural thing in the world to have some anxiety around this. It's the most natural thing in the world, especially I think, as people who are white, I really think that if you're aware enough to be like, oh no, there's probably something I don't know about myself, you probably have some anxiety right now. And the last time I did this, I was kind of disappointed in the results. And I was like, well, I guess I got a lot of growth to do. It just is what it is. But it's just a growth mindset opportunity. That's all it is. And there's no judgment tied to it at all, because the point is to get better, right? When we know better, we do better. That's how I think this is intended.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Karin. And we're going to be modeling this is why I was thinking about how we talk about it and share it out later, because we're going to be modeling for a largely, majority white staff. And I think it's important that we approach this with as little like shame or judgment for ourselves and others as possible. So let's do it.
So Dimitri, I got the email. Did you want us to try to log in?
Yes. While I'm here, I want to make sure that everybody can log
Okay, I got
in.
it.
And if you don't have to take it now, but I just want to make sure you have the link and your password to take the assessment.
Okay.
So Andrew, you got it? I think you said you got it?
I successfully logged in.
Okay. All right.
Can I start the assessment and finish it later, or do I have to do it all at once?
You can start and take your time and pause and complete it.
Oh God, that is.
And Tarina, yeah, I just want to focus on what Karin said. Again, this is just no judgment. It's just where you are right now on your intercultural competency journey. And it's a starting point, and we're going to continue to grow and talk about this and evolve over time. So don't get too worked up about it. There's no grading. I'm not going to grade you or put you out there, or Allison, or anything. It's just, this is where we are.
I'm super excited.
Hey.
I can't wait to learn something about myself.
So Dimitri, Ryan's question, are you going to send the sign up in a separate email for the one-on-ones?
You know what? I'm going to put that.
Yeah, I want that in-person spot.
I got the time and date I want already mapped in my head.
We're ready.
I'll fight you for it. I got a 4 o'clock slot. I gotta put myself.
You can't be in person. You've got COVID.
I'll be outside the.
I know.
Yeah.
Dimitri, we don't have
You need to get
access
access.
to edit.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I just updated the access. So everybody should
you.
have it. Yep.
Thank you. Got
There
it.
we go. Yep.
Okay.
Good. I'm excited.
So-
I'm excited for you.
Are there any other questions?
Was anybody not able to log in?
I was good.
Okay,
That was good.
Danica was good.
Okay.
awesome.
All right.
Dimitri,
And-
can we really sign up for tomorrow? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
You do the survey right now.
I'm taking that. Don't take my spot.
You take, let me make sure I got that. Let me see here.
It's like, is that
Make
real?
sure. Is that real? I think I was ambitious about this. 'Cause I knew somebody was going to want to take this tomorrow. Let's see here.
So the in-person meetings will be at,
You guys work fast.
You know what? I'm sorry. That was supposed to be the 4:30 to 5. I'm sorry. I'm glad you caught that.
Oh my gosh, you guys. It's like a race to get your names in there. I can't even look at my schedule this fast.
Fine. Okay,
There we
fine.
go.
Kelly.
There
I'm
we
doing
go.
double screens.
There we go. Ryan went to the 16. Okay.
we're like toddlers in like toddler classes. They throw all the toys on the floor and they're like, go get a toy.
Oh my god.
When just sort of
Yes.
Okay. Who is anonymous armadillo?
Oh, finally. I had to go all the way to the bottom for one of the times to work. There was left.
And again, if there's another time that you need that's more available to you, as long as we get together before the 25th, because I have to create the report. So I hope everybody will have taken it by the 24th or by Monday. So then I'll be able to create that report and get things ready for our group debrief.
Okay. All right.
All
I
right.
think if there is nothing else,
Yeah.
thank you everybody so much for your time. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Sure, so
Anybody? Carla? Anyone else?
Second.
Second? All in favor, voice vote, aye?
I
Aye. Anyone opposed? Nope. All right. Thank you everybody for your time.
thank you,
I look forward to seeing
Dimitri.
this
Oh,
work.
you got it anytime. Don't
Thank
hesitate to reach out. I'm here.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.